this is going to be sort of an atypical Book of the Month predictions video. Hi, I'm Colleen Delaney. If you're new here, you might not notice how weird my voice sounds. This channel, I talk about books and writing. Today, we're going to talk about my Book of the Month predictions. I'm super sick. So are two of my kids. I'm going to try not to have coughing and surround sound going on during this video. I'll obviously edit my coughs out, but we have this really horrible virus and we just can't shake it. I've had it for a week. My kids are a little behind me on it, and yeah, everyone is sick. So send me some positive vibes that we're feeling better for Thanksgiving, because I really hope we are. December is kind of an odd month for Book of the Month because they will sometimes release a book that's already out. So like last year, they released Babel in December, even though I think it came out either November or October last year because it was like such a hot book. And I did end up picking that for my December Book of the Month book in 2022. And then DNF'd it because it just wasn't for me. But that's making me feel a little bit less confident in what I've picked. They've also released some clues that I can't for the life of me figure out. I've decided I'm not good at the Book of the Month puzzles. I'm just not. And that's okay, but I'm terrible at that. Due to those facts and me being really sick for the last week and November being an absolutely crazy month, I am doing kind of like a smaller predictions video. Sometimes I do crazy long ones. For this one, I've got 1 to 2 books in each category that I think might be picked. And if they aren't picked, I think they sound like some great titles also that you might be interested in. We are going to start with contemporary fiction, and I only have one pick in this section, and it is Flores and Miss Paula by Melissa Rivero. It currently has a 3.85 rating on Goodreads with 52 ratings. It's 272 pages, and it's coming out on December 5th. I'm going to read you the blurb. 30-something Flores and her mother Paula still live in the same Brooklyn apartment, but that may be the only thing they have in common. It's been nearly 3 years since they loved beloved husband and father Martin, who had always been a bridge between them. One day, cleaning beneath his urn, Flores discovers a note written in her mother's handwriting. And then she writes it out in Spanish, which I'm not going to butcher, especially with my congestion. Forgive me if I failed you. Remember that I always loved you. But what would Paula need forgiveness for? Now, newfound doubts and old memories come flooding in, complicating each woman's efforts to carve out a good life for herself and to support the other in the same. Paula thinks Flores should spend her evenings meeting a future husband, not crunching numbers for a floundering aquarium startup. Flores wishes Paula would ask for a raise at her dollar bills retail job, or at least find a best friend who isn't a married man. When Flores and Paula learn that they will be forced to move, they must finally confront their complicated past and decide whether they share the same dreams for the future. Spirited and warm-hearted, Melissa Rivero's new novel showcases the complexities of the mother-daughter bond with fresh insight and sympathy. I will probably not purchase this if it's chosen, just because I don't think I can handle reading a book that's got like so much grief intertwined with it right now. But that does very much sound like a contemporary fiction Book of the Month pick. You have a mother-daughter relationship. You have grief, which often a lot of these books do handle grief. So I think it's a good choice. Also, that cover is really, really gorgeous. Next, for historical fiction, I have 2 choices. The first being kind of an odd one. I feel like there is a chance it could be picked, but also I just thought it sounded kind of cool, so I wanted to talk about it. And it's The Witch's Daughter by Imogen Edward Jones. There is a companion novel to this that has already come out, and I'm blanking on the title, but The Witches of St. Petersburg, I think is what it is. I'll put the cover here for you. This book currently only has 18 ratings on Goodreads, which is not many ratings, 3.3 average, and it's 416 pages and comes out on December 7th. It is 1916, and Rasputin has finally been killed by those who have long feared his influence over Tsar Nicholas and Tsarina Alexandra. But for Princess Militsa, I think is how you say it, famed as one of the witches of St. Petersburg, and her daughter Nadezhda, life is about to become extremely dangerous. Revolution is bubbling, and with it will come the murder of the Romanov imperial family. Now the rest of the court is also on the run, fleeing from the mob. Against this violent and turbulent backdrop, Nadezhda, the witch's daughter, finds in exile and captivity an extraordinary and unlikely love. They say nothing heals like the heart, but as the Red Army marches south and the remnants of the Russian court find itself trapped in Crimea, with their backs to the sea, Nadezhda and her beloved Prince Orlov must take the gamble of their lives. I don't know that much about the Russian Revolution. My husband and I did go on our honeymoon, though, in St. Petersburg, obviously a very long time ago. And I do really like St. Petersburg as a setting because I think it's very beautiful. I like the fact that this has like a little bit of a different take on the murder of the Romanovs, because we're not following them as a people. We're following other aristocrats or whatever they were called in Russia. But so that sounded kind of interesting. I also, again, really like the cover. I'm so swayed by a beautiful cover. The next historical fiction pick I have is The Paris Housekeeper by Renee Ryan. It currently has 61 ratings on Goodreads with a 4.4 average, and it is coming out on December 26th. It does not have a page count listed, which doesn't really mean anything. Paris, 1940. German tanks rumble through the streets of Paris, forcing frightened citizens to flee. But not everyone has the luxury to leave. Camille Lacroix, that's probably Lacroix, but I'm used to saying LaCroix because I'm American. A chambermaid at the world-famous Hotel Ritz must stay to support her family back home in Brittany. Desperate to earn money, Camille also acts as a lady's maid for a longtime guest, Vivian Miller, a glamorous American widow and a Nazi sympathizer. Despite her distrust of the woman, Camille turns to Vivian when her friend and fellow hotel maid, Rachel Berman, needs help getting out of Paris. It's then when Camille discovers that Vivian is not what she seems. The American has been using her wealth and connections to secretly obtain travel papers for Jewish refugees. While hiding Rachel in an underground bunker under a Nazi's nose, a daring escape plan is hatched, but as the net grows tighter and the Germans more ruthless, Camille's courage will be tested to the extreme. That feels very much like a run-of-the-mill historical fiction that takes place during World War II, particularly in France, which are often choices. They're still very popular, and it's interesting because I feel like World War II has been such a popular historical fiction subgenre since I was a child, which for me, like, I am the age that my grandfather fought in World War II. And most people my age, their grandparents did something to do with World War II. But we're not transitioning out of it. So I feel like maybe it'll just be a forever subgenre people like to read about. Next, we're gonna move to thrillers, and I have two thrillers. The first is The Engagement Party by Darby Kane. Currently has 248 ratings on Goodreads with a 3.78 average. It's 416 pages and it's coming out on December 5th. Emily Hunt went missing from her affluent liberal arts school on graduation weekend. Her body was found floating in a river, and a quiet loner who most people on campus really didn't know committed suicide. A tenuous link, one text, found the two dead students together and was enough for law enforcement to close the case. But they got it wrong, and now someone is determined to set it right. 12 years later, friends gather to celebrate an engagement over a long overdue getaway on a swanky private island in Maine, with only one way in and one way out. Sierra Prescott, invited as a guest and unconnected to the past events, is the only person who soon senses not as all as what it seems. The tension in the air is ignited when they find a dead man in the trunk of a car with a note, "Time to tell the truth," and things only get worse. As a torrential storm strands them together, the group's buried stories begin to surface and secrets are bartered. To survive this deadly party, they'll need to stop a killer before they become the prey. That sounds like a book I'd really like. I like Locked Island. More so, I think, than Locked Room or Locked House or whatever. And I love Maine as a setting. And yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm a really big fan. One of my good friends and I were talking about the kind of thrillers we like, and I like dual timeline thrillers. I really like thrillers where there's something that has happened in the past, and we are like however many years out from it trying to figure it out, whereas she likes present day thrillers. The second choice I have for thrillers is The Vacation House by Jane Shemilt. It has 60 ratings on Goodreads with a 3.92 average. It's 288 pages and is coming out on December 26th. Two Women, Two Secrets, One Terrible Night. Paxos, Greece. The Vacation House is a luxurious getaway for a wealthy English family. Windows open to the sun and the sea, a sparkling swimming pool, and a verdant garden. One hot summer night, while the parents and their friends drink wine and amuse themselves, a young woman, the teenage daughter of the Greek caretaker, ventures for a walk on their private beach. Her life will never be the same again. London, England, 10 years later. Julia is the perfect spouse and mother, slender, blonde, expensively dressed. She's the classic yummy mummy, cook, organizer, arm candy, and speechwriter to her influential husband. But behind her winning smile is a stifled woman trapped in a gilded cage, stricken with anxiety and perfectionism. When Julia meets Laurel, a therapist who promises to help her find fulfillment, Julia opens herself up to hope for a different future. Bound by the past. What happened in Greece all those years ago that binds these two women together? And will uncovering the truth destroy everything or set them free? This reminded me a little bit of The Golden Couple, which has like therapy as a big part of the thriller, and I liked that book a lot. We'll see. Next, I have one romance, and it's The Second Chance Year by Melissa Weisner. Currently has 305 ratings on Goodreads and a 4.29 average. It's 336 pages and it's coming out on December 5th. Sadie Thatcher's life has fallen apart in spectacular fashion. In one fell swoop, she managed to lose her job, her apartment, and her boyfriend, all thanks to her big mouth. So when a fortune teller offers her one wish, Sadie jumps at the chance to redo her awful year. Deep down, she doesn't believe magic will fix her life, but taking a leap of faith, Sadie makes her wish, opens her eyes, and nothing has changed. And then, in perhaps her dumbest move yet, she kisses her brother's best friend, Jacob. When Sadie wakes up the next morning, she's in her former apartment with her former boyfriend, and her former boss is expecting her at work. Checking the date, she realizes it's January 1st of last year. As Sadie navigates her second chance year, she begins to see the red flags she missed in her relationship and in her career. Plus, she keeps running into Jacob, and she can't stop thinking about their kiss, the one he has no idea ever happened. Suddenly, Sadie is beginning to wonder if her only mistake was wishing for a second chance. I feel like lately there have been some books that feel like contemporary romance but have like a supernatural twist, The 7-Year Slip being one of them, in which you're very much like rooted in this world. But there's a fantasy plotline, but it's not a paranormal. So that's part of the reason I think this might get picked. I also feel like a New Year's romance could work well as a December pick. Next, I have a pick I'm not going to read the description for because I started to read the description and then realized it's like super spoilery. So it's Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, which is the sequel to Divine Rivals, which was a Book of the Month book, and I currently have on my TBR in Book of the Month. And I'm just waiting for a month when I'm going to buy like 5 books, and I'm going to get that one. But I literally read the first line of the description, and it had like a huge spoiler for the first book, so I'm like mad about that. But so I'm not going to read the description to you. It currently has 257 ratings on Goodreads with a 4.59 average, which is very high. It's coming out December 26th, and it's 432 pages. It is technically a young adult. I know the first one had dark academia vibes. It's fantasy. I'm not going to tell you anything else because I don't want to ruin it for me or you. And then lastly, if there is an add-on, I've said this the last couple of months, maybe the last month. I think The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose could be an add-on. It came out on November 28th. I don't know. Actually, let me just check Book of the Month right now and see, because sometimes they put their add-ons on early. This is the second in the series of The Maid, which I didn't really like, but everybody else did. And I know it did really well with Book of the Month, so sometimes they put their add-ons early. So let me just go ahead and check right now and see if they have... Oh! It's an add-on. And you know what? I didn't check that before, so I feel good about myself. So yeah, they've got their add-ons out already. Let me just double-check any of the ones that I talked about aren't there. Just that one. So 5 Years From Now by Paige Toon is also an add-on. That wasn't there last month. And The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. So look at me. I was kind of right. If you don't believe me, I did that one in my November also. Now I want to read the 5 Years From Now description. It's a romance. And it says, the quick take is they say timing is everything. Well, 2 childhood friends who had to wait 20 years for their due would like a word. This sounds like something I would like. Maybe I'll get it. Okay. Today is not about what I'm picking for Book of the Month, though. It's about what I thought would be. So how exciting is that I am correct with The Mystery Guest is an add-on. So there's one. Yay. Because I didn't talk about that many books, I'm not going to give you like, these are the 5 I think are going to be picked. But of the 2 thrillers, I think The Engagement Party by Darby Kane will probably be picked over The Vacation House. And of the 2 historical fictions, honestly, I'm not really sure. Mainly because The Paris Housekeeper, the World War II book, is very much like Book of the Month feel. But it's like a weird publisher. And The Witch's Daughter, which sounds very cool, has like no ratings on Goodreads. So I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know. I do think the second chance year, though, has a really good chance of being on there. We'll see. Maybe I'll get 0 right other than The Mystery Guest. But I'm still counting it as 1. If you're still here, thank you for struggling through my congestion. And I'm sure I am just like very glazed because I feel very glazed. Hopefully by the time my next video comes out, I will be feeling quite a bit better, and I'll let you know what the Book of the Month picks ended up being in that video, because my next one's going to be my TBR. If there are any books out there that you really hope Book of the Month is going to pick, or if you're really excited about one of those, please let me know in the comments. And if you want to let me know you made it this far without writing words, please put a big stack of book emojis in the comments instead. I hope you have a wonderful end of your November and that you are not congested and coughing and feeling like you need to get in bed. I really hope you can't hear my children right now fighting/coughing. You probably can. So let's say, as always, I hope you're in the middle of a good book, about to start reading a good book, or about to start writing a great book. I'll see you soon.